Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd podcast. Joining me today is my co-host David Cochran, and also we have a special guest, friend of the show and YouTube live commenter, always keeping us on our toes, Greg Machado. Thank you for joining us. And our topic today is we will be doing our latest Week in Geek episode, bringing you all the latest news, rumors, trailers, and anything else we want to talk about. And don't forget to follow us on social media at WhySoCitiusPod on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. And of course, we are live now on YouTube. So if you're not listening now, or if you're listening later on Apple, come check our Instagram stories. You can come find us on YouTube, comment, live, join the action. So we do have the Squid Game's final season dropping tomorrow. Just want to get that out there in case you guys missed it. I know the last season came out only 6 months ago. Dave, are you caught up on that? Or do you still need to watch that second season too?
Yeah, no, I haven't touched it. I do now have access to Netflix though, which I didn't last year and coming up into this. But Peaky Blinders, I got to catch up on that first, and that takes priority. So I have not touched Squid Game season 2. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize season 3 drops tomorrow.
I said that, yeah, Steve Martin.
Yeah, well, Steve Martin, prop comic. Yeah, no, not caught up on it at all.
And I had talked to Greg before the show. He has not seen it yet, but he will get to it soon, hopefully. Yeah, once he has some time. There you go.
Season 1, Greg, have you seen that yet?
No, season 2.
Okay, got it.
And we do have some big news that just dropped yesterday. Denis Villeneuve is set to direct the next James Bond film, which he was basically the biggest rumor for a director for the movie. And honestly, I feel like we're all going to be pretty excited for that. One of the best directors out there today, and his take on James Bond will be I feel like it'll be very different, very creative. Maybe get more inside the mind of James Bond and how he really, ticks and what he goes through. So, Greg, are you a big Denis fan? How do you feel about this?
I'm not so concerned about director, producer. It's the biggest is who are you going to replace Daniel with?
Right. Were you a big fan of the Daniel Craig movies?
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Except,
Yeah,
I mean,
big.
here's Brosnan. He's been on Mobland, one of the best shows on TV right now.
Right.
And I don't know if any of these guys get a say in casting, to fill the shoes, or if it's just one of those, talk to them about the role, and how to.
I feel like Denis would have that power, though, to be able to cast his own James Bond. I feel like it's going to be his decision. Is it Warner Brothers? No.
Maybe.
It's MGM is partnering with Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Amazon paid like $8.5 billion.
That's right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and they got that video game coming out too.
Yeah.
The young Bond or young whatever it's called.
It looks like an Uncharted type of Hitman crossover kind of thing or something.
Definitely Hitman vibes. I was definitely feeling some of those of the old Hitman games.
Same developers.
Okay, that makes sense because the gameplay and the movement behind it kind of felt very similar. But, dude, this is just... It's even better when you see Denis commented on it, and he said he grew up watching James Bond films with his father, constantly. He's a diehard James Bond fan. When Sean Connery was in the role, he said, he's sacred territory, and he intends to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. So, all of this is just nothing but good news as far as this goes. But, yeah, like Greg said, I am very curious to see who is going to take up that mantle, because that can make or break it for sure. But... when Daniel Craig got announced, a lot of people were not very happy about it, and he absolutely killed it. So you never know, but yeah, I'm very curious to see who they're going to announce.
Aaron Pierre has been the long-rumored cast, and that is Jon Stewart in the Lanterns movie. He's good-looking, and also I saw a tweet today saying Tom Holland. Is he British? Is Aaron Pierre British? How do you guys feel about Tom Holland? I don't think that's a credible source, but I don't. He's too young, too nice. You know what I mean? Too sweet.
too uncharted.
Yeah, I need a more rugged Bond.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Greg feels. I'm not crazy about it though. I would have to be sold and see some stuff that I have not seen before from him. But yeah, I don't know. Greg, what do you think?
Well, yeah, the only picture they have of Lanterns is him and what's the actor?
Nathan Fillion?
No, the other Lantern. It's the two of them. They're like
Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, Kyle Chandler. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just them like looking back at the camera in that shot. So there's no clips or teasers of Lantern's detective show yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else he's been in. Yeah, to see like because until somebody has their chops under them or like some make or break, where like who's the biggest star right now? The Top Gun Twisters.
Glenn
Powell.
Yeah.
That was like Chris Pratt. They're just gonna start putting them in.
He came out of nowhere. Yeah, they come out of nowhere. Yeah. So
but like that whole tie-in though, that Amazon, the Terminal List, they're finishing filming the who played Gambit, the other
good
Channing
Lord,
Tatum.
why?
No, the other one.
Say,
the other one and Wolverine Origins.
Taylor Kitsch.
Kitsch. Man, I'm just blanking on names right now, but no. Jack Carr, the Navy SEAL who writes the books, gets his inspiration at the island sitting where James Bond was written. So he ties a lot of that into the Terminal List books and the shows for that action spy thriller stuff. But
is that on? That's on Prime as well.
Yeah. All they've done was season 1 with Chris Pratt, and then they're filming season 2 right now because they're wrapping up filming the.
Wait, it was a show. Why am I thinking?
Yeah.
There was a Chris Pratt Amazon series. Oh, that's a totally different thing. That was the movie. What was that called? They like went back in time or into the future to fight this war, Tomorrow War or something.
That was dumb. That was a dumb movie.
Was it the Tomorrow War?
Yeah, it was Tomorrow War.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, Terminal List. So I've never even seen the Terminal List before. I got to check that out.
Anyways, that whole tie-in is just where everybody's getting their inspiration for those fast-paced shows.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Marvel. We did get our Fantastic Four final trailer. So the main theme of this is getting the Thing to say the thing. It's clobbering time. That's kind of what's going on throughout. We see Silver Surfer show up again. Another shot of Galactus looming over the city. Looks so huge. I don't know how the Earth is going to survive that and how they're going to defeat him, or if maybe they don't and they have to escape. We'll see. But Dave, did this final trailer get the hype up more? Same level? Lower? How'd you feel?
I don't think it got it any higher than the last trailer, because the last trailer I liked the feel to it, the whole score and everything. It felt like, okay, that was a good trailer. I'm excited for this. I'm ready. So I didn't necessarily need this one. It didn't raise much. It gave, what it did was have another shot to show off Silver Surfer after it got some crap for the CGI on its initial release. So this was their re-release to be like, look, we fixed the CGI. She doesn't look bad. I don't know. I still got to see how that plays out in the movie. Julia Garner's voice sounded a little odd, a little disconnected. But again, that could just be audio editing for the trailer. The only thing I really took away from it, I guess it's funny the throwaway line with the it's clobbering time. I'm glad they didn't try to make it a thing. They could have just left it alone as a whole, and I would have been fine with that. But I saw this clip of the Thing with a beard in one of those clips, like a rock beard. And, first, how does that work? But secondly, I don't know that I'm that crazy about it. From a distance, his head looks like misshapen and swollen if you don't realize it's a beard. So that was my weird takeaway from that, is they're giving him a rock beard, huh? That's weird.
Greg, you have any thoughts on this final Fantastic Four trailer?
I mean, it's cool that she, you hear the voice. They're trying to add that, like you said, Dave, the metallic, tinge behind it. Mm-hmm. Is it the final voice? They say Ralph Fiennes is doing the mocap. Like they built a mini set for him to use as actual boots, walking through New York or whatever it is. And then they show the ship, so it's finally something much better than the 10 years ago, the giant cloud.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was awful.
But I think, they've done a good job. Like, okay, a teaser, then a trailer, and then a little bit more in this. Like, they're not showing everything, to make it a big summer, because it is. You had Brave New World, you had Thunderbolts. It's everything's building up to the big thing, but it's like, here's the next iteration. So don't blow it. And
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this movie. This is, of course, my first pick of the draft in the box office, so we'll see how it does leading up against Superman. It's funny that Superman and Fantastic Four are going head-to-head this year, and it's two kind of franchises who have a, checkered past, or at least in recent memory, very diversive, or just movies people don't like at all. So
Yeah.
we'll see if they can do it better this time. But Kevin Feige says that the events of Fantastic Four will lead directly into Avengers Doomsday. So, of course, the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, the second one, had the Fantastic Four ship arriving into the 616 universe. So maybe this Fantastic Four post-credit scene will kind of tie right off of that into what's going on next. We can see, because it seems like, the Russo brothers directed that Thunderbolts post-credit scene, so maybe they directed the Fantastic Four post-credit scene as well and just threw them in there back-to-back to keep it fluid going straight into Doomsday. So I could definitely see a continuation of the Thunderbolts one.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Let them. It's leading into their movie, so why not give them the opportunity to promote it how they want and lead into it how they want? That's almost an extension of the movie in itself.
But
I'm
isn't
not
the ship?
surprised. Yeah. What's up?
I was going to say, isn't it? The ship has different. There's a 3 and a 4. The base of it. So
Yes.
if this whole like, if there's a council of reeds, are they all seeing incursions? Are they all trying to figure out the wormholes and getting to each other? So who's trying to hide the baby? Who what age is Franklin? Like they brought Chris Evans back in Deadpool.
Right.
Are they going to bring the other iterations because they did the fan casting of Krasinski?
Right.
So is it a completely other family from another Earth?
That'd be. So you're kind of thinking it might not be Pedro Pascal in that ship in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. I think it's
They're dealing with their own thing.
Okay.
But because the Russos filmed that post credit of Thunderbolts, they have to build Battleworld.
Yeah.
Kind of going off of that. Well, and Feige said something. I think he had a comment where he said, well, if you take a closer look, it's actually not the same. It may not be the same ship you think it is, about that post-credit scene in Thunderbolt. So he suggested that, well, that may not be the same one you see in the Fantastic Four trailer. Looks similar, but there's some differences if you look closely. I didn't check it out, so I haven't done any research on it, but you got to say that for a reason, I would imagine. So yeah, it sounds like that's a red herring per se coming into that.
Right.
So we'll see. But
final predictions: will Doctor Doom be in this movie or post-credit scene in any form, any iteration? Greg?
He has to be because there was none in Brave New World.
Right.
There's all these rumors of so we got Sentry and Thunderbolts, and he's going to be a herald or the Doom's court.
Right.
Is a theory. So movie or post credit, I don't know. It's a 50-50. It's going to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So JD is obviously he's spoken on this many a times, and he's dead set on they have to show Doom in the movie. I'm gonna stand my ground and say he's not gonna show up in the movie, even though I would like him to. But post credit, I think that's the only place I see it happening. I see a post credit for sure, but for some reason, I just feel like Matt Shackman's not gonna throw Doom into this, and is just gonna keep it a fully Fantastic Four centered movie, and then we get a post credit tease. But
But do they have? No, go ahead.
This is a crazy theory. What if the Thunderbolts post-credit scene that is Doctor Doom in the ship, he arrives, just wipes them all out, and takes Sentry with him? That would be kind of crazy.
Here for it.
Yeah.
Here for it. Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, what if there's two like Thunderbolts had? You know, there was the funny Wheaties in the grocery store, like a 30 seconds after, a minute after. Then there was the ship at the end.
Yeah. Right.
So is there a funny Herbie thing? Is there a Johnny getting a woman type of thing? You know, something funny, and then the serious one. You know,
Oh,
also
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll wait 15 minutes of slow, drawn out credits for a crack joke with Johnny and the Thing, like teasing each other or something at the very. I don't know. I'm pretty positive of that one. So.
We'll stay tuned for our topic later because you will not be very excited for what James Gunn has to say.
Oh, by the way, real quick, shout out Romez Guide. He is in the chat. Says, "What's up, guys? It's been a while." Romez, welcome on back in. He asked if we're going to comment on the early reactions to Superman. We will be getting to Superman. You just wait. We will be getting there tonight. Don't you worry.
Well, we should. Oh yeah, let's do it. Like, to keep it to Marvel for now, Jon Bernthal will officially return as the Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Dave, I'm gonna let you take the floor on this first.
Obviously, first reaction is awesome. Like, that's great. Seeing Jon Bernthal in a movie at all, like, give him as much exposure as we can. Keep on putting him on screen because haven't seen a portion of him that I don't like. As far as his role, how big it's going to be in this movie, I can't say. I could see it. You know, we talked about, is it going to get dark? Does this mean the Spider-Man movie is going to have a darker tone? Or is it going to be somewhat of a Charlie Cox cameo where Spider-Man is trying to track down somebody or something and he has to have a brief conversation with the Punisher about a contact of his or something like that? And maybe, Peter says some smart, crack comment about how Punisher is so dark and brooding and serious or something like that. Maybe we get something like that and it's not dark at all. Or maybe they utilize him a lot more, but I kind of unfortunately would guess it's the Charlie Cox cameo more so than anything. But I'm really hoping it's more than that.
Greg?
Well, they're already doing the Punisher show.
Or like, yeah.
So he gets out of the spoiler. End of Daredevil. He, takes the guy's keys, gets out of the cage, and
it's been long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but then go back. Not just the Charlie Cox cameo as the lawyer, but when Tom Holland Spider-Man gets Electro and the villains he normally fights to help him solve this problem. So it's like, okay, well, Kingpin's going to continue to be the problem. So then there has to be team up because they already said Jessica Jones is coming back in Daredevil season 2.
Yeah.
So there's so many characters in New York that it's got to be more than just sitting at the table catching the brick.
Right.
It's got to be I don't want to call it a team up, but working against, even though you may not be best friends,
Right.
Right.
But in that brings the other question. So was Vincent D'Onofrio kind of bluffing? Are we going to see Kingpin on the big screen? Because he said, you're not going to see the Kingpin on the big screen because of whatever it was, contractual stuff or something else. Was that a bluff? Was that a solid bluff by Vincent? And we're going to see him because obviously Kingpin is a major villain for Spider-Man and the Spider-Man history of things.
I mean, there's
yeah.
No, but there's the Sony has to do it 3 years or something.
Right.
So yeah, to your point of the bluff is like, I think he can be. There's just the time elapsed. Maybe is one of those conditions.
Right. Yeah, and if it's something like that, I'm sure the MCU has the wherewithal to work around that and to work something out, especially with, you know, Iger back and them seeming to take this stuff a little bit more seriously than they did in Phase 4. That would be like my ideal Spider-Man 4, though, if we got Kingpin being one of the major villains and Punisher being brought in to have somewhat of a team up, even if it's only for the second act or something there with some ground level stuff. That's my dream right there for this Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, agreed. And this movie coming out before Doomsday now. It was supposed to come out after, before it was pushed back. I think that really benefits this movie. I think having it after Doomsday, I feel like it's gonna be kind of like that Far From Home after Endgame. Is that what it was? Yeah, where it's kind of like this reset, kind of felt weird in the timeline. So I feel like doing it before, keeping Spider-Man at that ground level for now before he goes off into Avengers, because obviously everything that happened in the last movie. So I think I would probably give Punisher under 10 minutes of screen time, to be completely honest. Maybe 15. You know what I mean? I don't see him making it through all 3 acts. Not like dying or anything, but I don't see him being a focal point of the entire movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. It's interesting because Doomsday, like you said, was supposed to come out before Spider-Man, and now not only does Spider-Man come out before it, comes out a year and a half before it. Like that was quite the shift.
No, they only pushed Doomsday back 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Well, this shows it's been delayed to December 18th, 2027.
No, that's
and Spider-Man's.
I think. Right?
Yeah, that's what you get for. No, you're absolutely right. That's what you get for reading the automatic little AI thing that pops up at the top of the search.
Yeah, because they were like, what, 2 months apart or something originally, 3 months, and now it's like a good, 8 months. Whatever it is.
Well,
then
you had that issue of the Spider-Man trailer when, he's looking at the billboard of people Tony putting flowers, and people are like, wait, he died?
Yeah, right.
Right.
I haven't seen Endgame yet, or
yeah. That's
No,
wild.
it's not AI. It's just Screen Crush. Screen Crush's article says Doomsday drops December 18th, 2027. In Screen Crush's article. Screen Rant.
Interesting.
Talking bad about the wrong thing. But yeah, Screen Rant, get your crap together. Jeez.
Let's see here. We do have a couple more Marvel topics. So Ryan Coogler confirms, we've been talking about this for a while, he wrote a role for Denzel Washington in Black Panther 3. He is the greatest living actor. So it is cool to see Denzel come to the MCU, and I feel like Black Panther is a good universe for him. I mean, maybe like X-Men or something, but how do you feel about this? And also, the role was written for him instead of, him trying out for the role. So, and
he's Chanda.
What do you think it is?
I said he's Chanda.
Who's that?
His grandfather.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know how they brought back Carl for Captain America? Lumley?
Carl.
That's the actor's name.
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah.
They had kind of like, okay, this is who he was, because they didn't really do a whole lot with him throughout all the movies, just the Winter Soldier show and Brave New World, but yeah, his grandfather back, in the comics fought in the World War II and had battles against Steve. And how did his shield first get made as vibranium? So it's like, well, then how did Howard Stark get all that back then? And so like when you said yeah, because I watched that clip with that Carmelo Anthony podcast. Is like the role was written for him. Well, Denzel right now is not just in the Gladiator 2, but he's in all these plays, Othello, and other things. So he's not just getting older, literally, but he's playing older, characters in performances.
Mm-hmm.
And I just blanked on the name. It's Chanda, and he's the wise one or something, or it's the assured one, or it's the.
Yeah. Oh God.
You have to type it in, but
Azuri the Wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but it would. Yeah.
I just feel like his being an actor would it doesn't matter if he's from another Earth. They all understand the what's their other plane?
Ancestral plane.
Ancestral plane.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it would make sense too because he looks very similar to the age of the actor who plays Isaiah Bradley. They were both in World War II, like you said there. He hasn't been. There's been no mention really of Chanda. Maybe there was one throwaway, T'Challa's grandfather, or back when yada yada. But they've never really, I don't think, mentioned him by name at this point. So it's up for grabs. It'd be a cool little return, and I'd like that more. So I personally didn't love Denzel's role in Gladiator 2. It kind of felt like they wrote it just so they could say Denzel Washington is in this movie. So I'm hoping that's not the case for this. And it's Ryan Coogler, he's done pretty solid work so far with stuff. So I trust he'll write a good role for it. But yeah, I hope it's something meaningful and not just to say Denzel Washington's in our Black Panther movie.
Yeah, they didn't, again, like you said, no names. The only thing that was on the tree was a actual animal panther on a branch, and climbed down or something. I forget.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. We'll see.
Romeo, sorry, brother. Romez in the chat says it can be tied to the dead since Black Panther is also King of the Dead, which that's something in the comics. He's King of the Dead because I forgot the area that essentially his sister takes over Wakanda, but then he's still Necropolis, I think, is the place that he still rules in Wakanda. So I'm curious if they bring that in, because if they're bringing in Namor and we're getting more conflicts there with Namor and Wakanda, Necropolis comes into play in the comic stories a lot in their conflicts. So very curious to see what we got.
All right, let's move on to DC. So, James Gunn has been out there in the circuits, making the rounds, doing a bunch of interviews, giving quotes on everything DCU. So we did have couple questions on how he's going to handle deaths in his universe. And he wants to make them... He wants them to stay dead, exactly.
Cool.
He believes that using resurrections to freely detracts from the impact of the death and makes audience believe there are no real stakes. So maybe he's taking, shots at Endgame there a little bit or whatever happened there, but he wants to make things... Yeah, the entire MCU, basically. So he wants to make things higher stakes, basically. If someone dies, they're dead and gone. They're not coming back in a couple of years. And then when it comes, do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, it's basically what you got to do, right? Even though it's a comic book universe, it's still a movie, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean,
tight.
Remember, I was in the chat in one of your guys' live, and it might have been the first Superman trailer discussion.
Okay.
Because everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's so many characters. And my comment to you guys was, yeah, do it differently. Not tons of origin stories. He's already come out and quoted saying they've already been living there for X amount of years.
He's been Superman for a couple years, right? Like 3 years.
Or sorry, yeah. Superman is 3 years, but people with meta humans have been there for a couple hundred or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, by all means, like you said, make it have stakes where you already know who people are. Maybe you don't have an attachment to them, Uh, if they do post-credit scenes, you'll start to see more and more characters, and then you're excited to see them and another. So
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Put us into a lived-in universe, like you said, Greg. Do it differently. Don't need all the origins. They're doing it. Obviously, we already have I always forget if it's the Justice Society or which group it is that's in this Superman movie that's got all the Max Lord tech, Green Lantern, Hot Girl, Mr. Terrific. I forget what the name of that group is because there's Justice League, there's Justice League of America, there's the Justice Society, there's so I forget which one this group is, but they already exist. Yeah, I think that's the way to play it. And again, we're gonna get Batman and Robin both like right out the gate instead of a Batman origin story and then Robin comes in movie 3. We're diving straight into this comic world, so it's exciting.
And he also had some quotes on Batman. So it seems like he is struggling with the DCU's Batman, and so is Matt Reeves. Because he believes that every Batman story has been told, and that overexposure can make the character boring. I see you. I mean, maybe, doing this whole Matt Reeves universe right when you did your thing wasn't a great idea, but he is looking for a way to make Batman interesting and essential within the context of the DCU, distinguishing him from previous iterations. He's not interested in a funny, campy Batman. So no George Clooney. He is working with a writer to find the right approach to the character. But he believes that he has found a way in to the character. So I do believe in James Gunn here. He is a very creative mind, even though, they have The Dark Knight is a very specific version of Batman. Robert Pattinson's more detective version. George Clooney, Val Kilmer, the goofy 90s version. So, then Michael Keaton was like the OG, gritty, old school, kind of style Batman. So, and he doesn't want to go with the campy. So what kind of style Batman would you like to see that would make him different from Robert Pattinson at the same time too? Because I feel like Robert Pattinson's the kind of Batman we've always been waiting for. So what can Gunn do differently? Almost. Year one. Greg?
it's got to be the Ben Affleck type.
Okay.
Because
the older Batman.
Well, but Ben had the mix. There was a little bit of jokey, a little bit of detective, all the tech. They brought him in the Flash, and yeah, Robert Pattinson is way too dark and detective.
Mm-hmm.
But you watch these Superman trailers, you're like, it's so bright, so colorful.
Yep.
Any Batman's going to be dark regardless. That's his story. That's his color. But
he's out at night. I don't see a Batman fitting in that Superman universe, like as of right now.
Yeah, but
it doesn't feel like it. I don't know.
Yeah, but if I forget which. There's a video I was watching. There's a billboard or a transportation thing that says Gotham in one of these trailers.
Okay.
So again,
we were talking about that. Okay.
This lived-in universe. Whether they show a map or it was on the newspaper or something. Kind of like how
it's going to be a thing. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be like it is in Zack Snyder's, where it's across the bay from each other, where Gotham and Metropolis are literally on opposite sides of the bay and you can see each other. But it's in the same universe. We know it exists. And Wayne Industries, it's a massive corporation that is probably... So that JD and I were talking about that last episode. Do we think we're going to see a Batman, a mention of Bruce Wayne, or at least a mention of Wayne Tech or Wayne Industries? And I think we're definitely going to see Wayne Industries... Whew, third try. Wayne Industries sign somewhere. Or at least Lex, his egotistical, lack of... Good Lord. Can't think of words either right now. Self-confidence, he's probably going to be jealous of Wayne Tech and mention it at some point, something like that. I don't know. So I think he'll be mentioned for sure. But I agree with Greg about the Ben Affleck style. I think it's time we just get an overpowered Batman. Give us OP Batman. Give us a
The
Batman
Arkham,
who
the
is not, yes, like
the Arkham
be a
games
brawler
ones.
in Arkham,
Yes.
but who is also like Pattinson's detective work, but better, because Pattinson's detective work was still, obviously, he's still new at this. He was still missing stuff. He was still having stuff get over on him. He didn't even solve the Riddler's thing until the Riddler told him you missed it. So give us
the
that
city
detective
flooded.
who. Yeah. So let's see Sherlock Holmes Batman, who also goes out there and picks them apart like Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. Let's just see an overpowered Batman that we're just like, what a badass, you know? Just show us that. Bring that to the DCU, and I will be a happy man.
You know,
There we
like,
go.
but you know,
Yeah.
remember Ben Affleck was just in the suit, not Batman, like a 3-piece suit, and he's saving the
Mhm.
kid, and Superman's flying through the building. But then they
Right.
show that same scene in the next movie. I'm totally blanking on which movie is both, but they show it from a different angle.
Right.
Is it Man of Steel and Justice League? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it
Like,
Batman versus Superman in Justice League? Or
Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel. Yeah, Batman versus
okay.
Superman, it shows his point of view, kind of seeing them.
That's right.
And then maybe we see it again in The Flash. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, we revisited random parts in different movies there, but
But then I'm sorry, it just doesn't matter that. It doesn't matter who talks about Wayne Tech, who talks about Gotham. That's that universe. Those are the
Right.
biggest characters. You're gonna have to bring them in together.
right.
Yeah.
It's like Amazon not being mentioned. There's something going on, you know, in our world. It's Wayne Tech, it's Wayne Industries. It's massive, and it's a big part of the universe. So
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they're funding the bad guys.
Well, and then, like I said, you have a lived-in universe. Superman's gonna have so many villains, anti-heroes, heroes. So why not he do the same thing with Batman with all of the red Nightwing and red what's his
Hood?
name?
Red Hood.
Red Hood. You know, all of those. Why not?
Yeah.
Keep doing that formula.
Yep. Totally agree, and I think he will.
There is also a Wonder Woman movie in the works. They're working on a script right now. You guys talked about casting in the last episode. We'll see how that goes. And there is also... Oh, there was a picture of Ultraman that came out. I'm not familiar with Ultraman. He looks like the Riddler from the Batman to me. And he is one of the villains in this movie. So is he like working under Lex Luthor, Dave? What do you know about Ultraman?
Well, what I know about Ultraman is he does not look like what we saw in that set photo there. He basically looks like Superman, but he's got a U on his chest instead of an S.
What?
But he's still like red and blue. He's basically like, I think he's an alternate version of Superman, but he's a
What
lot
is that?
more
Yeah,
brutal. That's the new rendition, I guess, of Ultraman. It looks like James Gunn is kind of creating his own version of it. From I heard some people saying it's going to be like a mix of Bizarro and Ultraman from the comics into one character, which Bizarro doesn't look like that either. That's Black Noir, if anything. But you know, whatever. I don't care. I'm fine with the look of it. But yeah, in the comics, Ultraman is like just a alternate, darker version of Superman. So I'm hoping they do something cool with the casting of Ultraman, and maybe his hood gets ripped off, and we see like a Tom Welling underneath, or a Brandon Routh, or you know, Henry Cavill by all means. But we all know that's not going to happen. There's no way in hell that'll happen. But I think there's a cool opportunity to do something cool there, because that is the background of Ultraman. Whether James Gunn makes it as like a Superman clone, I don't know. But there's going to be some reveal there for sure, I think.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, and like in the comics, he leads the. Speaking of all the societies, it's
Is
what's
that
it-
the
I'm trying
Justice Society?
No, it's a criminal. I'm trying to look it up. Hold on. Where is it?
Yeah, I forget.
So his name is Cal 2 from Earth 3. He's kind of like the
Crime Syndicate. There you go.
syndicate, yeah.
Yeah.
But his story is like killing the parents in Kansas, killing the president.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if it's already a lived in world, does he come from another Earth? If they have their version of what do they call it in the multiverse, in the DC,
Like variant
yeah,
or
and
yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, because Lex has that the engineer
Yeah.
and the other one all walking behind him and going in the Fortress Solitude in that trailer.
Right.
So what if he reined him in? Like, what if he was kind of psychotic, and then they found some kind of alliance, with
Yeah.
fighting against him, and
Well, and Lex could totally have some alternate portal deal. JD and I just covered Superman Birthright.
Go
And
check
in
it
it,
out
Lex.
now, wherever you listen to
There
podcasts.
you go. I think it's out already. I think it's released. Lex builds a portal that goes back. You look through this portal and it goes back in time and into a different like galaxy. So it's this crazy high tech portal, and it's how Superman sees his parents actually sending him off from Krypton before it gets destroyed. So I could see, yeah, Lex maybe has built something like that, and that's how he brought Ultraman over, or somehow Ultraman got to this universe, or again, maybe they just go with an evil clone thing. But I think I'm interested. I'm curious to see what they go with this.
is he? Let me pose this: is he already there, or does he come through? Remember that latest trailer, the cube, the
Like
Superman,
that colorful thing.
yeah, he's holding the little baby of the metamorphosis guy. Uh,
Forgot.
like that rift, is who's coming through that, or
Right.
how was it opened, or like they're trying. What are they calling those things in Peacemaker? The door into that. How Peacemaker's dad let him into that.
Oh, his
storage.
closet?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a quantum closet or something.
Yeah,
I forgot
quantum
what they called
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that.
I think they're going to explain that though in the movie when
Yeah.
a lot more.
That'd be dope.
So to keep it on the Superman track, a couple more topics. There is a confirmed post-credit scene, as we predicted. But like I said, don't get too excited. James Gunn has slightly learned from his mistakes in Marvel. He definitely mentioned Adam Warlock about teasing that, and then not really having a plan set in place. So that's why it took so long to get that that story finally wrapped up. So I think he kind of said where it'll be kind of the thing where what Greg was talking about earlier, where the first one is kind of a fun one, and then maybe the second one will have a slight tease, but it doesn't seem like we should get too excited for setting up things in the future. I feel like he wants to take it slower with the post-credit scenes compared to Marvel. So
yeah, be James Gunn humor type stuff.
Right.
I mean, do you post credit a Peacemaker for the show? Do you post credit Supergirl, the movie they're filming?
Oh, well, she's supposed to be in the movie at some point, so yeah, I would imagine we're gonna get some tease leading into that, but I still don't know how they're doing that.
Post
credit scene.
Momoa as
There you go,
Lobo.
Lobo. That's gotta show up soon here.
People would be so confused. Like, why is Aquaman now on a motorcycle?
Damn, Aquaman is going through a phase.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a phase, Mom.
Oh, please don't put an Aquaman in a Superman movie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna get an actual Aquaman character for a bit in the DCU.
Yeah, they need to let things cook and get confidence first, then they can throw Aquaman in there because it's tough. So there are some early screening reviews that have come out. I think a few people saw it yesterday, right? So someone says it's very Silver Age. It's got a lot of those sci-fi tropes. It's big in spectacle, drama, and laughs. Big in its heart, a very earnest film. And it's described as a live-action episode of Superman the Animated Series. Take that with...
Wow.
take that with what he will.
Oh.
I don't know if that's good or not.
I also heard it was the opposite of Man of Steel, which
Yes,
me
I've
being
heard that
somebody
too.
who loved Man of Steel, and it was one of the first things I liked that was Superman involved, I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, I saw that coming. I didn't think they were going to make it like a Man of Steel, obviously, but
Yeah.
makes sense.
And shout out Will I Am Smith on Twitter. This is just this person has 3,000 followers, but they saw the movie yesterday, so we're gonna see what he has to say about it. Okay. It feels generational. Like Raimi's Spider-Man or Burton's Batman, it's a bold, heartfelt beginning to a DC era, with Superman finally shining as the best of them all. David is magnetic, both as Clark and Superman, charming, hopeful, and heroic. Rachel's Lois Lane is sharp, funny, and my favorite take yet. Lex Luthor has shades of Kevin Spacey, but way darker.
Ooh.
The action VFX
Whoa.
solid.
It's darker than Kevin Spacey, huh? His characters or himself? 'Cause
The action and VFX solid, could have used more, but here's what works. It's better than most Marvel flicks lately and light years ahead of anything Sony or the old DCU put out. Not a very high bar, but
well,
well,
can you check this guy's bio just to double check he's not like a WB exec or something? Making a Twitter account there, because
Do you want me to
that
read his
was
bio?
pretty glowing.
Do you want me to read his bio?
I
No,
don't
I'm
want
not
to hear
doing it now.
anything more about this guy.
Poet, artist, blogger, gigolo, antagonist, fanboy. I identify as sexy.
All right. Your Honor, I'm going to request that we redact the previous statements made by Caleb from the record.
It's a wild land. It's a wild land out there on Twitter, okay?
Poet.
It was an honest
All right.
review, though. I mean, maybe he
Hey.
was shill. Maybe he was paid to give the review, but
Yeah, maybe he's a poet for WB's reviews. Well, we're seeing it early next week, right? We're seeing it, what, Wednesday?
is that
Are we
next
going
week already?
Are
I
we
think
going the
it's-
second?
No, it's the 9th. I think we have 2 weeks.
No. Really?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I know.
All right. Huh.
I sent it to you. I was gonna say. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. Greg, are you going to be seeing it when it drops?
Heck yeah.
All right.
I
there
just-
we go.
I just love you got to compartmentalize. Like, everyone is going to have their own feel
Opinion.
and take,
Yeah.
you know. Well, no, not just
Yeah.
people, but now James is heading the. Not
Mhm.
he's not Marvel anymore, so
Right.
Right.
he still has to tie in characters, like Frank Grillo, the voice of Rick Flag, and now he's going to
Rick
be
Flag,
the
yeah.
live action. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, and he uses his wife in Peacemaker, and he
So
uses all the
much.
same.
She
the same
works hard.
actors.
She works hard.
No, I like her. I like her character too. It's just funny. It's funny how often she's in all the projects. But no, I do enjoy her character. I think she's written pretty well.
Didn't James Gunn have a quote on something like against that or whatever, and then his wife was in the movie?
About hiring your family? Because his brother plays 17 roles in the DCU already. I don't know what he's got to say about that one. Which, again, I don't mind Sean Gunn, but
Guardians.
my God, half of his IMDb is from James Gunn projects.
Yeah. So there is some Superman box office tracking. Originally, it was 166 to 175 million domestically, which would have been crazy. But now it has dropped to somewhere between 90 and 145 million. But that's only domestic, so that could still be over 200 million opening weekend. You know?
Hey, it's no Elio, but I guess that's all right.
Yeah. Hey, now that we're here, let's do a quick box office update. Breaking news.
Oh.
So Dave, you're going heavy.
What?
You're going heavy first half of the season.
Yeah.
You already have 4 out of 6 movies out. Elio came out last weekend, so it's chugging along with 43 million opening weekend. Not amazing for Pixar. They kind of been dropping off lately, but the kids movies. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what sucks is, so if for the audience out there,
Right,
you'll get
almost-
updated on this. But Caleb had the Michael biopic, however you want to pronounce it, biopic. on his draft team, and it got delayed. So with that, we have a sub clause in our contest rules that allow you to switch it out for an unreleased movie if that happens. And if one team gets to do that, then each team gets one movie, one chance to switch out for something that hasn't been released yet. I was going to switch out Elio for either Now You See Me 3 or what was the other terrible one? Megan 2.0, I think. I tried to take something that you already had. Tron. Tried to take Tron. But I literally just forgot to send the text to say, "Yep, confirmed, I'm taking Elio out." I just forgot, and the day passed and Elio released. So here we are, 43 million.
Yeah, Megan is this weekend, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Megan and F1 comes out this weekend.
Yeah.
Tonight, tomorrow.
I want to see F1, which is what Caleb switched out. Yeah, he's got F1 now, the dirty son of a...
Hey, they've got the guy from the cocaine TV show.
Oh, is that Snowfall? Is that
Snowfall.
Frank from Snowfall?
Interesting.
No,
what's his name?
He's the one in that
Franklin, right?
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. Dameson Idris.
Yes, he's in that concept art as the new Black Panther.
That's what I was trying to think of. I was going to say, I know he's in F1, but there was something else I saw him popping up in, and it was that leaked concept art, which may be real or not. But
I mean, F1 just spurred Tom Cruise to do Days of Thunder sequel.
Really? I saw him show up at the premiere for F1.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because he and Brad Pitt did, Interview with a Vampire, so.
Yeah.
They're friends.
They go back.
Let's not talk about red carpets in DC with the Flash actor.
Oh, God.
All right, well, continuing on. Minecraft.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off there. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, tell us what we got there.
Yeah. You're listening now that mine say Minecraft. $954 million. Almost to $1 billion. Steal of the draft. Then we have Cap 4. $415 million. And Minecraft was your 5th round pick. Which is crazy. Cap 4, $415 million. Speaking of Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, $547 million. Pretty solid.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad.
Godzilla numbers, yeah. And you still have, you're going to have to wait a little bit. You have The Bad Guys 2, August 1st. Zootopia 2, November 26th.
Bring me the children's money.
And then for yours truly, we are starting off slowly, but we have a lot of movies left, so don't worry. Thunderbolts, $381 million. Pretty disappointing for both Marvel movies this year. And then Snow White was $205 million. Honestly, not too disappointed. It made over $200 million, so I'll take it, I guess.
Didn't make its budget. I win. Somebody owes me something.
Shut up. And then I have 4 movies left. F1 comes out this weekend. We have Tron Ares in October, Wicked 2 in November, and F4 in July. Fantastic Four, of course.
F4 and F1. Wow.
I'm excited for Tron.
I hope it's good. Go see it.
Did you see Tron Legacy, Greg? Because I think I'm the only
That's
one on
one
our
of my
pod who's
favorite
seen
movies.
it. Okay, I was going to say it's really underrated, man. It's a really cool movie.
I don't purchase. I mean, I love soundtracks, but I don't purchase many. But one that I've had on my iTunes for a long time is Daft Punk's.
Yeah.
And now, now they got 9 Inch Nails doing Tron Ares, and
okay. Thought they'd have 30 Seconds to Mars do
with
Tron Ares there.
He can't do double. He can't do double.
Oh, you can. It's Jared Leto. You can do double. But no, Legacy, the soundtrack was like half the reason the movie felt so cool. Like, it was just a really fun movie. And for the year it came out, I think it's like 2009 or something. Like, it was a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, just a quick side fun fact, to the viewers of this, the town we're all from, there was a property we had, and there was a shed, and a contractor of ours told me to get back and hurry from Subway or wherever I was grabbing lunch. hurry, hurry. He unlocked the shed. I was like, okay. So I rushed back. And we opened the door. And it's like walking into the arcade of Tron.
Damn.
And I'm
That's
like,
freaking sweet.
and there was arcade. I mean, it didn't turn on, like the movie.
Well, yeah. Crazy power boost kicks in, but
But
that's
there was
awesome.
arcade. Like, see behind your head? That's where that came from, that X-Men.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so sick. Yeah,
So
Greg's is pretty much the reason for half the stuff you see that's nerd stuff on my wall here and there.
So they just
That's
race
awesome.
motorcycles the whole time?
No.
That's part of it, but no.
No, the first one was made back in the 80s. So it was how to understand computers and not X's O's, but zeros and ones. So, Jeff Bridges' character is how tech was combined in the real world at that time.
Okay.
So it's transporting them into the game, into the
Right.
it's a different take on like the Matrix, machines and humans.
Okay. I'll check it out.
So the second one is
Legacy.
his son. And then this Ares is now the machines coming into the world.
Oh. See, I didn't even know that. Okay, that's cool.
Okay. Interesting. Well, hopefully it makes at least half a billy.
Shut up.
And then JD's team, we can't forget about old JD, even though he's not here. How to Train Your Dragon, 376 million. I think that just came out 2 weeks ago
Already?
or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lilo and Stitch, 915 million. He's catching up to
my
Minecraft.
God.
He'll be there. He has Sinners at 364 million, which is amazing for an R-rated vampire movie. But
wins?
he has a dud. Karate Kid Legends, 99 million, and that's like 3 weeks in. So, and he has Superman and Jurassic Park, both in July, coming out a week apart. So,
Not great. And
Uh-huh.
Jurassic Park is gonna bomb. I'm just telling you right now.
Do it-
I'm
do
gonna
any of you
watch it, but it's gonna bomb.
it looks
What's
tough.
up?
Do any of you have 28 Days Later? Because that just came out.
Years later?
Years?
No.
No, that was
Or
one of the
years,
ones
yeah.
I was gonna pick. But from what
Yeah,
I
okay.
heard,
Like 60 million opening weekend, I think it was. So not
well,
horrible.
Lub, you just saw that, right? Are you holding off till what we've been watching to talk about that?
Well, if you brought it up, I'll give a quick. Let me do the
Well, yeah.
totals real fast.
All right, yeah, sorry.
So JD has $1,755,000,000, and I won't read it all right now. I'll wait till the end. So 1.7 billion, 4 out of 6 movies. Dave, you are at 1.9 million with 1.9 billion with 4 out of 6 movies, but Elio just started, so you have a slight advantage on JD. And I am at 587 million, but I only have 2 out of 6 movies.
What a
So I have-
loser!
I have 4 movies
sorry.
left. You only have 2, okay?
I know.
And F1 comes out tomorrow. But when it comes to 28 years later, so I did see that on Tuesday, and it has like 89% Rotten Tomatoes, 7.5 on IMDb, 3.5 on Letterboxd. Like,
And it beat out Elio. It
yeah.
oh no, not doubled, but it 20 million more than Elio on its opening weekend. It's a rated R horror type film.
Well, I'm here to tell you that I didn't like the movie at all. And I'm a big fan of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. 28 Weeks Later might be a slightly better movie. We'll get that another day, but it was shot on an iPhone, first of all, which I was not a fan of. They tried to give like the indie A24 vibes of 28 Days Later, but it just, the editing was weird, where they would like, it felt like they like skipped a scene during like action parts, and like Zack Snyder slow-mo kind of at the same time. It was weird. Like like there was some like symbolism they were going for. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free because it just came out, but there was some like symbolism they were going for that maybe I didn't pick up on, or maybe it was teased for like later movies because it's a trilogy now. You guys familiar with the cast? Aaron Taylor
Yeah.
Johnson.
Ralph.
So he's like, yeah,
Ray
Ray Fiennes.
Ray.
So
well, yeah, what? I still don't know how to pronounce either of his names, but whatever. Is it Ray Fiennes? Is it Ralph Fiennes? I don't know, but I know who he is. Yeah, exactly. He who shall
But
not be named.
Cute.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is the main character for like the first 20 minutes of the movie, and then he just disappears. Like not like no plot reason. Like he doesn't die or anything. He's just gone.
Say
from the
you
rest.
you're
No,
virgin on spoilers.
There's
there,
no
sir.
reason.
But-
There's no reason
Okay.
for it. Like he's just gone for the rest of the movie, and you're like, okay, like interesting. And then so and the kid, his son was super annoying. The stuff he does is super dumb, super brash. Like,
Oh God, I hate that.
and the plot just goes on. I feel like things just happen to move on to the next plot point. Like it felt very sloppy. The ending is comical. The end of the movie is I was almost laughing out loud multiple
God.
times. Ray Fiennes' character was cool. There wasn't a ton of zombies. Like there was a couple hordes, not a ton of zombies. The action scenes were great. You could tell the zombie people were wearing like suits. You could tell like their back and their legs. They had like
What?
an
What?
whole like bodysuit on. It felt super sloppy.
Okay, let me ask you this, and again, no spoilers as much as you can, but is there a somewhat satisfying explanation to why the rage virus is still existent?
Yeah, they quarantined it.
Okay, but in the first one, they were dying off after a while because they couldn't survive without food, and they started dying off. And then the
Right.
second one only kicked off because there was somebody who was immune but was a carrier that was hiding, and she got brought back into the camps, and then it got somebody else contagious, and then the rage virus came back. But so I was just curious, okay, there's got to be a reason why 28 years later this thing is still going strong, but
I think you're gonna need to get
Sounds
all the
like-
way off their back about them dying without food.
dude,
So
that's-
because they're just
it's like the
they're
main
around
thing
still.
I was curious about.
They're around
It's
still.
like, well, how is it still going? Okay.
It's
well, that's a bummer.
The zombies are only on the mainland of Britain.
Right. So I got that from the trailer. They go across when the tide gets low and they're able
Right.
to cross that bridge or whatever. But I guess I'm waiting for streaming. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm gonna
You should
try to
definitely-
keep my
yeah,
expectations.
watch it.
But boy, that is not what I was expecting to hear when you said you were going to see it.
Maybe
So-
you'll like it now.
Yeah.
Such low
I keep-
expectations.
I keep seeing like a meme or a short clip joking about one of the zombies and
Oh, being Killian Murphy.
no having an unusually large appendage.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
wait. I read something about like 28 inches or
Dude.
something.
Dude,
Why is that in the movie? What is that?
homie has a hog. One of the zombies is packing heat. That's all I'll say.
The rage caused all the blood to go down there, apparently. I don't know. But I saw comments, but I didn't know what the hell that meant. Some of the way it was phrased, I was like, did somebody get raped in this? Like, what do they mean by that?
No, there's
that's-
not.
Oh,
no,
good
no,
Lord.
no
All
rape,
right.
no rape.
I think
but
I'm
there
done.
is
Okay.
there is some. But the director said it's been 28 years, so we need to make the zombies smarter now. Like, how did they evolve and adapt over these 28 years? So that was kind of his premise.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. That's a bummer. All right.
Well, while we're on the topic, Dave, is there anything you've been watching lately? We do have one more topic for Star Wars, but Dave, you've been watching, playing, reading anything lately?
I've been watching a whole lot of stuff. I'm still playing Red Dead.
You started over.
I'm back. I went back to that 19% save spot. I think I'm at 48% now. Wasn't even the plan, but I just found myself playing all the main missions again, and I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
I feel like
but
you're never gonna stop playing the game for the rest of your life.
that's what Megan said recently. But yeah, we're gonna just keep trying. No, watching wise, I've been watching a lot of stuff. So Yellowstone, me and Megan have been watching that, but we took a little hiatus because I don't know, it wasn't as good as it started out. So we still got to finish it though. So we got a couple episodes left of season 5. Really depressing second half of season 5. So I haven't really been enjoying it because it's just sadness. Sopranos, I am into season 4 now. Still think it's a bit overhyped. It's okay. It's hard for me to watch a show where all the characters are scumbags and you can't really root for like any of them because they're literally all terrible people. And they all are just doing stuff for their own selfish reasons, except for Bobby Sack.
Tony has some redeeming qualities.
Tony
in
is
the
a
first couple seasons.
scumbag, bro.
In the first couple of seasons, though, it's like,
Guy's a scum. Everything is so greedy. Screws his friends over. Starts just taking extra money from people. Like, I don't know. I just think they're all terrible people. But it's okay. Season 3 was better than the first couple seasons, and season 4 is just starting to get into some stuff. I've heard season 3 and 4 were some of the better ones. So, but yeah,
have you gotten to Pussy yet? The character Pussy.
He gone.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he gone. Okay, word.
He was in season 1. He was
Right.
he was in the show from the start. Yeah. But sorry, spoilers.
He was snitching.
No, Bobby is a good character who I like.
Bobby's dope.
He's a good character who I can root for. Kind of Anthony Jr. is like pretty, whatever, but
he gets annoying.
Not as much of a scumbag.
Annoying.
Yeah, he's already obnoxious and is a selfish, brat, but that's what it comes to. I'm rooting for 14-year-old brats because
okay.
the rest of the characters are terrible. Yeah, she's okay when she's not trying to cheat on him every chance she gets.
Edie Falco.
Carmella.
Yeah, Fabio, whatever his name is.
Furio, but pretty much Fabio. Yeah. But anyway, so it's fine. But no, I watched a couple movies recently. The Bike Riders, which I was really looking forward to watching this one. It's Tom Hardy. It's Austin Butler. Norman Reedus pops up in it. Michael Shannon's got a spot on it. It's got a really good cast, a really good premise. I think it had a great opportunity, and I think they kind of just squandered it. I don't know. It felt like I was really into it for the first half of the movie, and then the second half just kind of felt like, what are we doing? I don't know. It was just really slow. Crawled the second half, so it was a bit disappointing. I wouldn't say it's a terrible movie, but I really thought it was going to be an amazing movie. And then The Hunt. So just watch that one, where rich extreme leftists kidnap a bunch of conservatives and hunt them down on their rich manor out in I forgot where they ended up being. Croatia. Spoiler alert, I guess, but Croatia or something. But it's just a fun. It's not like a serious movie, but it's just really fun, really funny, some entertaining kills, satisfying ending. So it was a good watch. So you've seen that, Greg? Have you seen The Hunt at all?
I'm trying to remember if I watched it or not.
Came out like 4 years ago or so.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Right during COVID. It dropped during COVID, so it kind of flew under the radar. A few pretty decent-sized names of people, they're just barely in it, like Hilary Swank, Emma Roberts, Ike Barinholtz. There's a decent amount, but yeah, it was entertaining. It's a fun movie.
I watched it probably like a year ago.
Okay. And Lub, I know you haven't seen it, but Greg, did you see The Bike Riders?
That's on my list to watch.
Okay.
Maybe take it.
No, I think it's still worth the watch. Again, there's some good moments in it. I was just overall disappointed with what they did with it. But.
No, I can't remember was there an Austin Butler thing in between? So on Apple TV is it's kind of like Band of Brothers. The pilot in the oh God, what is it?
It's called?
They did a good job on that.
Okay.
Austin Butler.
Masters of the Air.
Yeah,
yes,
Masters of the
there
Air.
you go.
So, it was done by Spielberg and Tom Hanks, who did the Band of Brothers, The Pacific. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good on that.
Is there anything else you've been watching lately, Greg?
Let's see. The other night, I watched The Accountant 2.
Okay.
I'm halfway through
I've
that.
been meaning to watch that. No spoilers.
No, the only thing I'll say is like a review or a not a synopsis, but like a
quick breakdown.
So Sicario?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally filming the third one. So it's the same type of movie, but it's different. So I've seen some people talk about how Accountant 2 was, this, that, or the other, and it's like, just take Sicario. Like, it doesn't have to be exact. Just take the same characters and then kind of like explains a few things from the first one and then just adds to it, and it's its own story.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just it's not perfect. It's not like award winning, but it was very good.
Okay, good. Good. We started it. I didn't like the opening scene with Ben Affleck, and it took me a minute too because we watched the first one right before, and boy, does Ben Affleck's face shape change between those two movies. He looks like a different person in the account too. It's wild.
He's been through like 4 marriages, okay?
He's been through a lot, and so is his face. But I didn't like the first scene he was in, but then it started getting better. It started feeling like, okay, this is the same character. But the first scene, it didn't feel to me like the same character from the first movie. But then it got better. But yeah, like I said, I think we're like 40 minutes in or so, but I'm enjoying it so far. I don't expect it to be as good as the first one, but I was just hoping for a fun movie, and some more scenes with Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck.
Right.
Yeah.
It dropped on Prime, Amazon. Prime, I'm trying to get through Fallout because they just dropped that teaser last week or week prior.
Yeah.
Vegas. I think I texted Dave about that. And then, I binged all the White Lotus a couple weeks back. Trying to see if that was, good or not. Man, if I could just stay awake on a weekend and I want to go through the American Primeval on Netflix. Western, that's been rated pretty high. And then I'm almost done with Mobland. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren.
Yeah, that's on Paramount, right? I just got that recently.
So it's Paramount, but it's not Taylor. It's Guy Ritchie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then I think the other day I just saw it got renewed for season 2.
Nice.
So, and then they're finishing filming Tulsa King season 4. They were doing 3 and 4 simultaneously.
Smart.
Okay.
That's a Taylor Sheridan show, right?
Yes.
Think so? Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So
I know it's similar.
He has like 5 different shows.
Well, and then who was the actor?
Yeah, he is.
I just saw a story. He's going to do one in New Orleans with somebody, like a Cajun.
Nola King.
Nola King
Samuel L. Jackson.
King. Yeah.
Jesus.
Interesting.
Dude,
by the way,
like cashing out on this Western phase, huh?
He's got a lot of projects. American Primeval, funny, I was just thinking, The Hunt, the movie I just talked about, the main actress, I don't think I've ever seen her in anything, and she's one of the lead roles in American Primeval. So I just saw her name again and was like, oh, there, Betty Gilpin. Look at that.
Betty Gilpin.
Oh, okay.
Betty.
And she was solid in The Hunt. She was entertaining.
They got a lot of names in this.
Yeah, a lot. Like they're Taylor Kitsch, Dane DeHaan, Kim Coates from Sons of Anarchy.
Jai Courtney.
Yeah, there's a decent casting list to the show. I have to check this out.
Put it on the list.
There you go. Lub, you been watching stuff? What have you been doing?
I did watch There Will Be Blood for the first time. So everyone says Daniel Day-Lewis is the greatest actor of all time, the greatest Methodist actor of all time. You know, I might put Christian Bale above him, but he's definitely up there.
I didn't realize this was your first time watching it.
Yeah, never seen it before. I'm trying to, I watched Last of the Mohicans, Kings of New York, and now There Will Be Blood. So
okay.
He definitely carries this movie. It's kind of like Absolute Power Corrupts Absolutely, where the story of him, it's about 1911, drilling oil in America, that whole rage that's going on, and him just taking over and creating a whole empire basically. And there's just a couple scenes in the movie where like they're all-time scenes, like I've abandoned my boy, I've abandoned my child, and then what is, of course, a meme.
I drink your milkshake.
And that one at the end
so
of the movie,
weird.
him and Paul Dano, holy shit! Like I definitely see the hype behind him as an actor. Like, he's so believable. Like, whatever role he plays, whether it's a Native American. I mean, maybe he shouldn't have played a Native American role. and then, Gangs of New York, he's like, you know, the old mobster. And then in this one, it's like,
That's one of the best movies of all time.
it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
I like Gangs of New York
So-
so much more than There Will Be Blood. I'm not that big of a fan of There Will Be Blood.
You remember the two magic movies, The Prestige and
Yes.
The
The
Illusionist?
Illusionist. Yeah.
You know, so they came out in the same year.
Right.
You know, both magic,
Mm-hmm.
both great. And then the next year is when, so 2006, 2007 is when There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men.
Oof.
Same style movies, different actors, but all great. And you're like, who planned this? Like, why is it that there's just
Yeah. I would say
Right.
no Country for Old Men is a better movie than There Will Be Blood.
That's my pick too. Again, and
Yeah.
I know There
But
Will
they're
Be Blood
both
is
they're
very
both
highly
really
regarded.
good.
Right, but I don't get that much out of There Will Be Blood when I've watched it. It's been probably 10 years or more, so maybe I need to check it out again.
You
But
should.
No Country for Old Men is incredible. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, but There Will Be Blood is 2 hours and 40 minutes. I watched it in 2 sittings.
Sheesh.
But it's just like a slow burn of him going crazy, and he's a pretty crazy villain by the end of the movie. So, like, what he does to his own child, like, is pretty fucked up. So, and then when it comes to video games, I finished Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's been a while since we've done a Week in Geek, so finished that. They definitely set it up for a sequel or like a DLC. The way it ended, for sure. Like, I think it's gonna be DLC. I don't think they do.
Is that the recent one, the Japanese one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
I need to get that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely better than Valhalla. I don't know if you played Valhalla, but I liked it more than Valhalla.
I'm like half. I need to finish that because that.
It's so long. Yeah. And then Cyberpunk. I went back to Cyberpunk and I finished the DLC Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk. And that last mission it was like 30 minutes long probably. It was crazy. You're like going through an airport undercover trying to save this chick, and Idris Elba pops up at the end, and you know the crazy decision you have to make. So, well, he's a character
he was
throughout
in
the
it.
whole, but he pops up at the end again.
Yeah.
So I'm officially done with Cyberpunk. I've beat it twice, did the DLC once, so I'm gonna have to move on until the sequel comes out. It was very nice knowing you.
Yeah. Or you go ahead and load a 19% saved file, and you start cracking back at that game there. You get back in there.
I don't know.
If they can keep expanding on Miami and GTA, then they can expand Assassins 2. There's not 2. 3, the American Revolution,
Right.
and Black Flag, Caribbean
Black
Pirates.
Flag.
Like,
Absolutely.
Just
if you
remake
can-
the game, please.
yeah, remake it. Huge map.
Right. Yeah, because the ships, upgrading the ships and doing all that stuff, and the sea battles was so much fun in Black Flag.
And if you expand the ocean and the different forts and whatnot, like you could make that be such a long duration of the game without it even being the main part of the game.
Well, yeah,
Like, you
all they
could
did
just-
was 3
was-
with Connor. It was just like a quick Boston,
Right.
a quick New York, and that,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so there, though. That's still my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
which one?
Black Flag. It's one of my. I freaking loved that game when it
I
came
mean,
out.
Good game.
Connor with the tomahawk, like the Patriot with Mel
Oh,
Gibson.
yeah.
Just
Yes, exactly. And at the start too, he's just manhandling dudes running through the forest there. Like
Yeah. It's a good game. I think Odyssey's my favorite, but Black Flag's definitely second or third.
straight up.
All right, let's move on to Star Wars, the forgotten stepchild of this podcast.
Who?
We have some breaking news, Dave. You're going to be very surprised. This has never happened before. We have never talked about this on this podcast. The Rey movie is on hold. Dave.
No. I'm shocked.
It seems like they're
Personally.
pushing forward with
Godlike.
Dawn of the Jedi and this Sean Levy movie. And Rey is on hold because, honestly, what are you gonna do? Like, Rey's gonna set up. The report before was if the movie goes well, it could set up a trilogy. You know, if people like it, we might expand on it.
Holding my breath.
So
It's almost like they just threw that news out there when they did because Star Wars was at a low and they tried to like make waves and announce this thing, but they really didn't have much of a plan at all or something. I don't know.
weird.
Well, they just
can't
had
believe
Star
it got
Wars
delayed.
whatever down in Brazil, so they brought out Gosling and Sean.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's already a go.
Mhm.
And then yesterday or today, they announced the female. She's like the
Oh,
Sith villain.
Mia Goth.
Mia Goth, yeah. Which is interesting. I'm
Yeah.
interested about that. I like the Ryan Gosling thing. I am already way more interested in this than the Rey movie.
So
Yeah, but
we have some details on that movie before we expand. Ryan Gosling's character is protecting his young nephew from evil pursuers. It's set around 5 years after Episode 9, and it may bring back some sequel trilogy characters.
You're losing me.
And it releases May 28th, 2027, so 1 year after Mando and Grogu. I feel like that was the original Rey release date, but obviously that's not happening. So, Greg, 5 years after Episode 9, we got this new story coming into Star Wars, new characters, maybe a couple sequel trilogy people, probably like a Maz Kanata or someone else random, but maybe Lando. Maybe Lando pops back up. You never know. Greg,
Well,
are you excited for Star Wars?
See, there's two things colliding. Dave said it in the beginning with Bob Iger. So what they're doing with Marvel is not just mass. It's like the 2 movies, the 2 shows, whatever the formula is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing that with Star Wars, and that's even though it's Filoni and Favreau as the head, they know they got to stick to this formula on what they're seeing with the Disney Plus numbers and the TV show subscriptions, because that's how they make their money is just how many subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the other thing colliding too is, yes, it's a sequel to the sequels, but you can't lose people with storytelling on what do they last remember. But then that's what the other one is about, is the Dawn is the 25,000 years before anything and how it all started.
Right.
So, yeah, you can have both, but then make them quality, and that's your couple in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Different time periods, but it's the same world. And
Right.
It's all
Uncharted, because everything after Episode 9, no one knows. So you can start. Sure, it's only 5 years after Rise of Skywalker, but we don't know what happens next. So it could be a new beginning for the future.
Well, they had, but then you had Mando was technically in between the first ones.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yes, it was made many years later, but in the story timeline, the canon.
Right.
Even Mando and Grogu is still going to be in between.
Yeah, and set in that. Yep.
Right. And I don't know. Although I love the details behind this, my least favorite detail is that it's 5 years after Episode 9, just because I feel like, okay, so Episode 9 ended with the Emperor finally being defeated. Maybe he gets brought back again. The First Order was defeated. So what do we have? Who is the villain force? Obviously, there's a power vacuum that's going to happen regardless. So after the Empire was taken out, basically the new Empire took up that power vacuum. But criminal organizations, all this stuff, were grasping for power. So there's got to be some power vacuum in the universe after this Palpatine defeat in Episode 9. But it just doesn't get me excited hearing 5 years after Episode 9. I feel like maybe they should have spaced it even more. But regardless, I am still interested in this. I like Sean Levy's work for the most part, and a couple of solid leads to start us off with. So hopefully this one doesn't get delayed 7 times, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one either.
I mean, so Vader is the best pilot in the galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anakin.
Yep.
So Remember the beginning of episode 2? Was that the beginning opening scene when Anakin and Obi-Wan are flying the?
3.
Surrender 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right
Oh,
before
it is beginning of 3.
They're getting to get Grievous.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is an awesome scene.
Right. So not only is it an opening scene, it's a space. It's their back and forth. So yeah, you'll get different space fights in all these movies. Like the teaser for, was it Andor 2? What's the older actor? Going against that destroyer.
Scars. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, flying that. They show him.
Which was sick again.
Using every offense and defensive measure. So yeah, if this is a totally, what do you call it? Dogfight type of thing.
Right.
Like what Rogue Squadron was supposed to be in the movie we
Right.
never got to see. This could
Exactly.
be kind of the newer version, because Rogue Squadron was going to take place during the original trilogy. This could be a post-sequel Rogue Squadron type of movie.
So Gosling is basically continuing his role from Driver. It'll be a sequel going into space where he'll be a star driver. But obviously, I'm assuming he's going to be, one of the best pilots out there. And all the Poe Dameron scenes in the sequels are some of my favorite sequences with him flying, his piloting. They were awesome. And we haven't, like you said, Gray, we had that opening scene, but we haven't had like a movie focusing on dogfights and pilots, almost like Top Gun Maverick-esque in Star Wars universe.
Cool.
That would be pretty sick. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, if Mia Goth, is it said she's going to be a Sith or just a villain? Is it confirmed?
She has to be. What? That's the trope. That's the Star Wars. You have to have it.
Yeah, I know. But if he's just a starfighter pilot, maybe she's like a Sith pilot.
I think so far it's only said that she will play the main villain. I don't believe they've used the word Sith officially.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I made that up when I was reading it. Like, you just sticking that word in there when you read.
Well, she looks like she could totally be like a Ventress, a Asajj Ventress character. Like Mia Goth could totally pull off a Sith villain. So I totally understand. My brain kind of went there
Then aren't
too.
They're filming season 2 of Ahsoka right now, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Mia Goth looks like she could be Revan's girl. What's her name?
Bastilla or no?
Yeah.
No. No, that's their daughter, I think.
It starts with an S, doesn't it?
No, it is Bastilla. Okay, Bastilla Shan.
She looks like she could be one of those like old Republic fucking Sith.
Who is their daughter then? Veneer. Okay, yeah. Bastilla. She was a badass.
She's badass. R.I.P. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this episode of Week in Geek. A little hour-and-a-half episode here. It's been a while. A lot of news has been dropping lately. We've been very busy. So thank you, Greg, for joining us here. We hope to see you back sometime. Maybe we'll get you on for a review, a draft, top 5. You never know. But we love having you in the comments there. Keeps us active, keeps the conversation going. So I appreciate it very much. And Dave also, of course. Dave, Dave, you're here. Yeah, that's right. But our Superman review will be coming soon. I don't know if we'll be maybe doing any more prep episodes. I feel like we're ready to go for our 2 big summer blockbusters coming next month. So stay tuned.
Come on. There's a third next month. Come on. Jurassic. Come on.
There it is.
I mean, box office wise.
I'm seeing it. I just think it's going to flop, but I'm seeing it. Forever a Jurassic Park fan.
All right. Yep.
Well, thank you. And we'll see you next time on Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.